So everyone, we're going to turn our attention now to a reflection on impermanence. This is to just simply pay attention to the fact of this reality that we live in which loss, change, and death is really a constant. And so what I'd like you to do is to find a comfortable sitting posture. And if you're sitting on the floor, cross-legged with your sits bones activated with gravity, your spine floating upwards, your shoulders relaxed, your eyes relaxed, feeling yourself as this energetic whole. If you're sitting in a chair, feet flat on the floor, and again, let your pelvis activate. Let your abdomen be strong. Feel your solar plexus. Feel your spine raising upward of its own accord. Your neck, your jaw relaxed. Your shoulders dropped. And just for a moment, identify as open awareness, present, in the here and now, boundless, awake. And as awareness, take a moment to simply marvel at all of the comments that everyone made having thought about their story, and the ability of awareness to enter into that story, to imagine, to listen, to feel with, and to feel for. It's quite extraordinary what awareness is capable of. Because as awareness, you permeate all things, and you are all things. And so for this exercise, we're going to time travel, and we're going to use our faculty of memory. And what I'd like for you to do is to choose a memory and just be spontaneous and allow whatever memory wants to come forward. And just locate yourself on a day sometime before you were 12 years old. And just let that memory surface. And marvel that awareness can include memory. And remember, if you will, the context that you were in at the time. What was the physical landscape like? What do you notice about either nature or the building or the street? Whatever it is, the context that you're in, what time of day is this memory taking place in? What do you remember about your embodied experience? Could you feel light? Could you feel texture, surfaces? What was in your kinesthetic memory at the time? What sounds do you remember? Anything else that you see that's important to the memory? What did you experience yourself doing at that young age? Were there other people in your memory? What were they doing or saying? What was your felt experience? Was it positive? Was it negative? Was it mixed? And what was your experience of yourself? How did you experience yourself? Were you having feelings? What kind of thoughts? What was it like to be you back then, to the best of your ability to remember? Allow yourself to dwell for a moment or two and to fill out any of the memory that you can. And now I'd like you to notice of everything that you remember, what is it that's gone away? What is impermanent? In other words, how has the landscape that you're in now changed? How are the people different? How has your body changed? And even your sense of self. How is your sense of self different? Just notice those changes. Notice that everything that was arising in that memory at that time, for the most part, is now different. What hasn't changed is awareness. Awareness and beingness, presence, is still the same. We're going to just let go of those impressions, just like in meditation, we're invoking them and now we're letting them go. And I'd like to invite you to bring your attention now to a moment in midlife, in the middle of your life, and that'll be different, of course, depending on how old you are. But let's do the same thing at a midpoint. And let's notice another memory that we're bringing up in the context of open awareness. And what do you see or remember about the physical environment that you are in? Look around and really pay attention to what the natural world was like, the landscape and plant life, buildings, streets, structures. What was the context? And remember as much as you can about it. Now think for a moment about the people that you were with during that time. Who peopled that landscape? Who were the relationships? What were the people doing and saying, and how did you feel in relationship to them? reflect for a moment on what you were doing yourself, what your activity was like, and how did it feel to be you then? What kind of thoughts, feelings, self-sense was present for you then? And now we're going to allow that memory to dissolve. And as we allow the memory to dissolve, to acknowledge how much has changed, how much is different in this moment of your life than in the early memory and in the mid-memory. How contexts, even when you live in the same town, have changed. How the people, even if they're the same, maybe they've grown older or more handsome or sicker, or just the changes that have taken place. The changes in you, how you think, how you feel. And as we let this second memory go, to bring our attention into this moment and to notice what is it that is still here. It's possible to bring the memories forward, so they're still part of who we are. The self-sense, perhaps there's a similarity. Perhaps there's something that feels continuous. And then to notice that awareness, that our capacity to perceive, to experience, is far and away the most stable. And for a moment, bring your attention to the here and now and notice the context that you're in. The physical structures, the landscape, furniture, and the people. Who are the people who are in your life in this moment? Notice what you do with yourself, what your activities are, and how they may have changed. And also notice if some things are the same. Pay attention to the kind of thoughts you have now, the feeling states, the self-sense. Sound in this moment. And now notice for a moment that this is going to change. And allow your attention to move from the objects of your awareness to awareness itself. And for a few minutes, allow all the impressions of the moment just to come and go and identify as this awareness itself. And again, to marvel, if you will, at this, what is this? Who am I? What is this awareness? In the Buddhist tradition, of course, we say the empty mirror that reflects all things. What is this? And just be as awareness for a few moments. Letting any impression that arises to dissolve in the same way your memory dissolved. And keep identifying as simply that which reflects the objects of awareness. As you're sitting as awareness, allow your heart to open and just to feel, if you will, what it's like to experience the radical nature of how things change. Human beings, we look for solidity, for security, for permanence, and yet moment to moment to moment, year to year, decade to decade, things change. Just feel, if you will, what that is. And in a certain way, the surrender that's required to kind of continue to relinquish different dimensions of your life until the moment will come where you will let go fully and completely and simply become awareness itself. Thank you for just engaging this contemplation on impermanence.